Hello and welcome back. I'm Michelle, founder of JandBInspired and host of the Nervous System Support for Caregivers. If you were here yesterday, thank you. 7 of you showed up to my very first live, and that genuinely meant everything to me. And I wanted to share something that made my heart so full this morning. Someone from yesterday's live has already registered for the Hard Room Words Kit workshop on August 13. To that person, thank you. It meant the world that yesterday landed enough for you to take that step. Below on the live, you will see that there is a link to register if today's live helps you land a little bit differently so that we've got care. Hello, welcome Mayanne. It's so wonderful to have you join us again from yesterday. Whilst everyone may not be on live today, if you're new, welcome. You can catch yesterday's live on replay, but you don't need to have seen it to follow along today. If you're a caregiver, please pop caregiver in the comments so I know you're here. Yesterday, I introduced the idea of hard rooms, those high-stakes spaces where your nervous system goes on alert and your words can disappear. Hello and welcome. We've just started, so today I want to make this real for you because I think sometimes that's the most powerful thing I can do is stop explaining and just show you what a hard room actually looks like from the inside. I'm going to share something from my own caregiving journey, and I share this with full permission from my loved ones because they believe, as I do, that our story might help someone else feel less alone. My eldest developed a severe headache, vomiting, sensitivity to light, sound, touch. Every instinct I had as a mother was telling me that there was something seriously wrong. After, at that time, 10 years of full-time caregiving, I knew to my core that this was not my child as they were day to day, with their existing medical conditions. So we went to our local hospital's emergency department. And there they did a test and it came back that he had RSV. No further investigations were going to be completed. We are being sent home. Now, to me, he had had an RSV before, and I knew that came with coughs, sneezing, runny nose, and he had no symptoms of a cold. This had nothing to do with that. I knew in my body that something wasn't right. So I said so. For those who are asking, we are located in Australia, Queensland on the sunny coast. When I brought this up with the pediatrician in the emergency department, they were adamant that there was nothing, it was just part of the virus. And in that moment, that's when this became a hard room, that they were not listening to my previous 10 years of lived experience for our 24 hours a day. And it became the hard room not because the staff were being bad people, but because I was a mother in a high-stakes space, trying to get someone to listen to a 24-hour reality that they hadn't witnessed. That is part of the problem in high-stakes spaces, is they are not witnessing what we experience on a day-to-day basis. So trying to advocate clearly while my nervous system was in protection mode, because there was no way I was leaving that hospital without more answers to why my son was in crippling pain and unable to move without being violently unwell. As they were getting us ready to leave, I asked to speak to the senior consultant because my son started having a seizure. Luckily for me that there were 2 nurses present at the same time, so I wasn't the only one witnessing this absent seizure. Once that was witnessed, things changed drastically. They started transferring us to our nearest pediatric hospital, which was about 20 minutes via ambulance. But we had to wait hours. When we arrived in a completely new emergency department, they did a CT of my son's brain. That clearly showed that he had a brain bleed, and the hospital was not equipped to help him to manage this. So we waited more hours to be transferred to our local children's hospital, which was over an hour away. Now, during this process, it was so vitally important that I held my fear privately in that room so he couldn't sense it, so that he didn't see any of the fear that was going on around him. Because that's what caregivers do. That's where we have our magic. We regulate ourselves in those rooms so that our loved ones don't have to carry on our fear on top of their own in a situation where there are so many unknowns. That is what a hard room costs. And that is exactly why I'm building and supporting caregivers to build these systems for themselves. Yesterday, I asked you to drop your questions in the comments, and you guys showed up. And I want to answer every single one of them today because they are exactly the right questions. And I know that if one person asks it, then 10 more people were thinking it. So thank you for submitting them. Question 1 was, what is a hard room? To recap, a hard room is any high stakes space where the power feels uneven. The time is limited, you're managing multiple personalities and professionals, and the outcome matters deeply, not only to you, but to the health and well-being of your loved one. It can be a medical appointment, an emergency department, a hospital scheduled stay, a school meeting, a funding review, or a service system call. It's any room where you're trying to explain a complex 24-hour reality in 10 to 15 minutes. Because that's the reality even in hospital. While your body is already on alert. And the hard part isn't just being in the room. It's what happens after. It's the replay. It's the emotional, physical, and mental exhaustion. The wishing you'd said it differently. That's your nervous system trying to process something it didn't get to finish. Question 2 was older adults, retired caregivers, and technology confidence. This question came from a carer who looks after her husband, and they are both retired. She wanted to know whether the workshop would meet their needs as older adults and whether the technology would be a barrier. I want to answer this with so much care because this question really matters. The Hard Room Words Kit is built for caregivers, full stop. Not a particular age, not a particular diagnosis, not a particular system. If you have ever sat across from a doctor, a specialist, a school, or a system and felt the weight and pressure of that room in your body while your nervous system went into protection mode, this workshop is for you. On the technology side, the workshop is hosted online, and I'll make it as simple as possible to come and join. If you can watch a video on your phone, a tablet, or a computer, you can be in the room. Plus, there is also a 14-day replay, so if the live technology feels like too much on the day, you can watch it in your own time, in your own space, and at your own pace. You belong in this workshop. I would love to have you there. Sorry, breathed in a little bit of fluff. Question number 3 was getting doctors to see the whole picture and what is a grounding script. This question came from someone who cares for a loved one with complex needs and wants to know if the workshop will help them get medical professionals to consider the whole picture instead of just their small part of their story. Yes, genuinely yes, because what gets in the way of that conversation isn't usually information, it's access. When your nervous system is in protection mode, the words you prepare can sometimes disappear. The grounding scripts in the workshop help you come back to yourself first, so you can then deliver the information you came to deliver. And a grounding script. That's a great question. It's a short, simple sequence of words or prompts that helps your nervous system settle enough to access your thinking brain again. It's not meditation. It's not deep breathing for 20 minutes. It's something you can use in a car park before you walk in, or in 30 seconds while the doctor is typing their notes. It's practical, quiet, private, and built for real caregiver life. Question 4. Fear of being seen as difficult or bossy. This one I want to sit with for a moment because I hear it so often and it really breaks my heart every time. The fear that speaking up will make you look difficult and that being seen as difficult could backfire on your loved one. First, that fear makes complete sense. It's not irrational. Many caregivers have experienced exactly that dynamic, where advocating clearly has been met with resistance or subtle consequences. Your nervous system has learned to be careful, and it's trying to protect your loved one. The workshop teaches you how to advocate clearly without escalating the room, with anchor phrases that are calm, specific, and firm without being combative. Language that positions you as part of the care team rather than in opposition to it, because the goal is never to fight the room, it's to be heard inside it, to become part of the care plan. Question number 5 is going blank, the replay and foggy brain scripts. And this last one, going blank, is the moment and then the replaying it for hours afterwards. Yes, the workshop gives you simple scripts you can actually use when your brain goes foggy, not scripts that require you to remember a long sequence of words when you're overwhelmed. Short, specific, designed for the moment your mind empties. And the aftershock, the replay, the exhaustion, that crash on the drive home. The workshop addresses that too, because the nervous system needs a clean finish. Without one, it keeps running the room on a loop, trying to complete what it couldn't complete in real time. We work on that together live. Everything I've just answered, that's what the Hard Room Word Kit workshop is built around. It's live on August 13. It runs for 60 minutes. We build your personal kit together. Anchor phrases, grounding scripts, a prep note, so you walk into your next hard room with something in your hands instead of just hope. It's $49. It's 14 days. There will be a 14-day replay included. I'll drop the registration link in the comments right now. We already have our first registered caregiver in the room, and I would love you to be next. Grab your spot today. And if you're a podcast listener, the Caregiver punch card is in the show notes of our latest episode. Plus, tomorrow we have another one dropping. Listen your way to 10 stamps. Email your completed card to support@JandBInspired.com and go into the draw for our caregiver gift. One episode at a time, no pressure, just showing up for yourself. Thank you for being here today. The questions you brought yesterday were the right ones, and I hope today answered them. Tomorrow I'll be back live again, and I look forward to seeing you then. If you have any more questions in the meantime, drop them in the comments and we'll answer them tomorrow. Thank you so much, and see you then.